We're going to take a look at the process from this side now. Starting again. Case. Look at the charge. Put in a bullet. Case. Whoop. Bullet. Case. Look. Bullet. Index. Case. Look. Bullet. Index. Case. Look. Bullet. When you want to finish up a run, if you run out of cases, you can just keep going, only omitting that step. Index. No case. I will look. Place in the bullet. Don't need to push it forward because I'm not pushing this primer into any case at the moment. Yep, that one got it. Index. Look. Bullet. Index. Nothing to do. Take it again. That's that. Well, we've loaded up our first batch of ammunition, and my, don't they look proud. Now that we're done with this batch, it's time to look at each case and test it out. It's important to look at the cases because you want to make sure that they're all uniform, nothing's gotten accidentally destroyed in the loading process, or you let a bad piece of brass get past you. Let's see how we check these out. One way to do it is to just sort of line them all up and kind of eyeball across the top and make sure they're all of a uniform height. Grabbing one, measuring it with your set of calipers. You may want to go back to the book to make sure you remember the appropriate height of these things, which is, I think, 1.275, and that's just about exactly what these things are. So the height on these is good. You should also grab them by hand, one at a time, and feel it around, feel the primer pocket, make sure it's not poking out. What you're doing is you're feeling for any brass that's gotten misshaped, torn, or otherwise folded, spindled, or mutilated in the process. Because you don't want to put that in your gun. Probably a better way to do it is to use a little case gauge, which is this little guy. Comes from a bunch of different manufacturers. Essentially, the cartridge is designed just to fit in here perfectly, almost like it's a receiver. What you do is you stick the cartridge right in there, make sure it doesn't come out the top very much, give it a feel to make sure the primer is properly at least flush or maybe a little bit recessed, make sure the case itself fits in there pretty well. Pops around like that. If it's stiff to put in there, then it's not resized correctly, and something's wrong with the case itself or maybe the die. Anyway, once you get in there, I like to take it out and give it a little spin to make sure that the case is nice and round and not otherwise destroyed. And put it somewhere. And essentially, you go through your batch. I like to go through the batch one at a time like this. If I find one that doesn't fit in here, I just put it aside, because it could be the brass, it's just too old. I've finished checking out all my cases. This batch is good, and I found 3 of them that didn't want to go into the case gauge. It's not unusual when you're working with found brass, stuff that you've picked up off the range, to have a few pieces of brass, and out of every bunch, they just don't want to work anymore. They're too old or beat up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 3, put them in my bullet puller, and I'm going to reuse the bullets and probably the powder, and I'm going to take the cases themselves with the live primers in them, put them in a bottle I've got, which is eventually going to get soaked down in WD-40 and disposed of properly. Other than that, these cartridges are ready to go. I'm not sure if I've mentioned a bullet puller yet. But here's how it works. You can take these cartridges that we made with no gunpowder or anything in them that we want to save the bullets from because I'm cheap. You take your bullet puller, take the cartridge, press it in there, tighten it right up so it doesn't fall out. You take any hard surface, I've got a vise mounted here, and you want to hit it so that the hammer is completely perpendicular to the surface you're hitting it on. You want to hit it fairly sharp. And that's it. Bullet came right out. You can unscrew it, and you can reuse your bullet. You can reuse your case. What I like to do, you can store them any number of ways. I tend to put them in a Ziploc freezer bag, and you want to write down the information, the load information on the bag. So these are 230 grain round nose bullets. Use 6.0 grains unique, and they were Winchester primers. So now, if I put these finished cartridges in here, I know exactly what that load is, and I can separate it from my hotter loads or my more mild loads. Well, that's about it on this little thing on how to reload. I hope it helped a couple of people out, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me, and hopefully do a couple of these again later on, maybe to do with rifles or something like that. That's it. Thanks for watching.